You are hereby banished. Leave this city and never return.
No, please, we beg you, have mercy.
This was the fate of Madame Sarah and her wicked daughter Lillian. In a peaceful village surrounded by emerald forest, rolling hills and golden farmlands, there lived a sweet young girl named Chichi. She was known throughout the village for her golden heart, bright smile, and kindness towards everyone she met. Her laughter was like music, and her beauty reflected not only in her face, but in the purity of her soul. Chichi lived happily with her loving parents in a modest but warm home filled with love. Her mother was a graceful woman who taught her compassion, honesty, and strength. Every morning, they would gather flowers together, cook meals, and sing while walking. Her father, a hardworking farmer, adored Chichi deeply and often called her his little sunshine. For many years, Chichi's life was filled with joy, but happiness, like the changing seasons, did not last forever. One cold evening, Chichi's mother fell ill terribly. Despite efforts from village healers, her condition worsened. Chichi stayed by her bedside day and night, holding her mother's hand, praying for a miracle. Chichi, her mother whispered weakly, brushing tears from her daughter's cheek. No matter what happens, always keep your heart pure. Kindness is a treasure no one can steal. With those final words, Chichi's mother passed away. The loss shattered Chichi's world. Her once cheerful home became quiet and heavy with grief. Her father tried his best to raise her alone, but loneliness weighed heavily on him. After some time, villagers encouraged him to remarry for Chichi's sake. Eventually, he married Madame Sarah, a wealthy widow from a neighboring village. She appeared elegant, respectful, and caring. She also had a daughter named Lillian, who was about Chichi's age. At first, Chichi was hopeful. She welcomed Madame Sarah and Lillian with warmth, believing they could become a real family. She shared her clothes, helped Lillian settle in, and treated her like a sister. But Lillian, did not share Chichi's kindness. Though beautiful on the outside, Lillian was vain, spoiled, and deeply jealous. She envied Chichi's natural grace and the affection villagers showed her. Madame Grace, too, hid a darker side beneath her polished smile. She was ambitious and greedy, more interested in her husband's property than in a family. As months passed, Chichi noticed changes. Madame Sarah became controlling. Lillian grew increasingly cruel. Yet, Chichi remained patient, believing love could soften their hearts. Then tragedy struck again. Chichi's father mysteriously became ill. He grew weaker each day, unable to tend to his farm. Chichi cared for him tirelessly, but Madame Sarah showed little genuine concern. One stormy night, her father passed away, leaving Chichi orphaned. With him died the last shield protecting her. The very next morning, Madame Sarah's true nature emerged. No more pretending, she said coldly. Lillian smirked as servants were dismissed and Chichi's belongings were taken away. "This room belongs to me now," Lillian told Chichi, throwing Chichi's dress onto the muddy ground outside. Chichi stood frozen in disbelief. "From today," Madame Sarah declared, "you are no longer the lady of this house. You will earn your keep." Chichi was forced into rags. Her comfortable bedroom was replaced by a cold corner near the kitchen fireplace. Her days became filled with endless chores. She rose before sunrise to fetch water from distant rivers, often carrying heavy buckets that bruised her hands. She scrubbed floors until her knees ached, cooked meals she was barely allowed to eat, washing laundry by hand, cleaned arches, tended to animals, and worked tirelessly while Lillian enjoyed luxury. Lillian wore silk gowns, sparkling jewelry, and spent hours admiring herself in mirrors. "You were never special," Lillian would mock. "You're nothing but a servant." Madame Sarah encouraged every cruelty. "Work harder," she would shout. "You should be grateful we even keep you here." Though Chichi's heart often broke, she never allowed bitterness to consume her. Even in suffering, she remained kind. She secretly helped elder villagers carry firewood, fed hungry animals, and comforted children. Her kindness became a quiet rebellion. The villagers noticed such goodness, they whispered. One day, her light will shine brighter than her suffering. But inside her home, life only worsened. Lillian took pleasure in humiliating Chichi publicly. At gatherings, she would mock her ragged clothes. In market, she forced Chichi to carry heavy baskets while she paraded proudly. At night, Chichi would sit beneath the stars, remembering her mother's words, "Keep your heart pure." And so she endured. Years passed, and Chichi blossomed into a stunning young woman despite hardship. Her beauty became even more radiant because it was shaped by humility and resilience. This only fueled Lillian's jealousy further. One beautiful morning, royal trumpets echoed through the village street. "Hear ye, hear ye! By decree of Prince Kerian, a grand royal festival shall be held at the palace. Every eligible maiden in the kingdom is invited, for the prince shall choose his future bride." Excitement erupted everywhere. Women rushed to prepare gowns. Families celebrated, dreams of royalty filled the air. Lillian nearly screamed with delight. "This is my chance," she exclaimed. "I will become princess." Madame Sarah spared no expense, purchasing extravagant dresses, jewelry, perfumes, and accessories for Lillian. Meanwhile, Chichi dared to hope. "Perhaps I could attend too," she asked softly. Lillian burst into cruel laughter. "You? At the palace?" Madame Sarah's face hardened. "Impossible. A filthy servant belongs in the kitchen, not a royal ballroom." Chichi's fragile hope shattered. As preparation continued, she was burdened with even more work to ensure Lillian's perfection. On the day of the royal festival, the house buzzed with excitement. Lillian dressed in shimmering purple silk, while Madame Sarah adjusted her jewels proudly. "Tonight," Madame Sarah said, "our future changes forever." Before leaving, Lillian leaned close to Chichi. "Stay here where you belong," she said. As their carriage disappeared into the distance, Chichi sat outside alone, tears streaming down her face. For the first time in years, her sadness overwhelmed her. She looked to the heavens and whispered, "Mother, if you can hear me, will my life ever change?" Suddenly, a gentle voice answered from behind. "Perhaps it is about to." Chichi turned. Standing before her was an old woman, cloaked in soft light, her eyes warm with wisdom. And in that magical moment, Chichi's destiny began to change forever. The old woman stepped closer. Her presence was calming, though dressed in simple worn robe. She radiated a quiet power that seemed like she came from the other world. Golden lights shimmered faintly around her, dancing like fireflies in the evening air. "Why do you cry, child?" she asked gently. Chichi lowered her head. "I wish only for one night, one chance to see a life beyond pain. But perhaps dreams like mine are not meant to come true." The old woman smiled warmly. "Oh, but kindness such as yours never goes unnoticed. She lifted Chichi's chin. Your suffering has been seen, your goodness has been measured, and tonight you shall have your chance. Chichi blinked through her tears. What do you mean? The woman raised her staff. With a sudden wail of golden magic, the wind rose around them. Leaves danced in spirals. The earth sparkled. Chichi grasped as her torn skirt-covered clothes dissolved into shimmering light. In moments, her rags transformed into a breathtaking gown of golden blue silk that sparkled like moonlight on water. Diamonds glittered along the bodies, and delicate crystal slippers appeared upon her feet. Her tangled hair was elegantly styled, crowned with shimmering jewels. Chichi stared at her reflection in her. Is, is this really me? The old woman nodded. Yes, child. But remember, magic is precious and temporary. You must return before midnight. Once the final bell tolls, everything will vanish. With another wave of her hand, a magnificent golden carriage appeared, crafted from enchanted wood and glowing softly under the night sky. Beautiful white horses stamped their hooves impatiently. Go now, the old woman said, and may your heart guide your destiny. Filled with gratitude, Chi-Chi climbed onto the carriage and journeyed towards the royal palace. As she approached, towering golden gates opened before her. The palace was breathtaking. Its marble walls gleamed beneath crystal chandeliers. Music floated through the grand halls, and nobles from across the kingdom filled the ballroom in dazzling attire. When Chichi entered, the entire room fell silence. Every eye turned towards her. Whispers swept across the palace. Who is she? She is stunning. Could she be foreign royalty? Even King Elio and Queen Maribel were visibly impressed. But no one was more captivated than Prince Kirian. Standing tall in royal attire, Prince Kirian had met countless noble women. Yet, none had ever stirred his heart. Until now. The moment he saw Chichi, time seemed to stand still. Her elegance was undeniable, but more than beauty, it was the quiet grace in her eyes that drew him. Without hesitation, the prince crossed the ballroom. He bowed respectfully. My lady, he said, offering his hand, may I have this dance with you? Chichi hesitated briefly, overwhelmed, but she placed her hand in his. As music swelled, they danced. Together they moved across the ballroom with effortless grace. Their connection was undeniable. For the first time in years, Chichi felt free. She laughed, she smiled, and Prince Kerian found himself enchanted not only by her appearance, but by her warm humility and spirit. Meanwhile, across the room, Lillian's joy cuddled into rage. Dressed in expensive silk, she had expected to be the center of attention. Instead, she was invisible. Her eyes widened in disbelief. That girl, Lillian whispered furiously. It can't be. Madame Sarah squinted suspiciously. Though transformed, something about Chichi felt familiar. But jealousy blinded them. How dare she outshine me? Lillian hissed. Throughout the evening, Prince Kerian remained by Chichi's side. They spoke of dreams, kindness, and life beyond titles. Unlike the other women who boasted of wealth and power, Chichi spoke with sincerity. The prince was moved deeply. I feel as though I have known you forever, he confessed. Chichi's heart fluttered. But as the grand clock tower began to chime, her smile faded. Midnight approached. Fear gripped her. I must go, she cried suddenly. Before Prince Kerian could stop her, Chichi fled through the palace. Wait, wait, he called. She raced down marble staircases, a gown shimmering behind her. But in her haste, one golden bracelet slipped from her waist and fell onto the palace steps. Prince Kerian picked it up. Its craftsmanship was extraordinary, and he knew instantly this was no ordinary maiden. By the time he reached the gate, Chichi's carriage had vanished into the night. Back at home, Chichi arrived moments before midnight. As the final bell rang, the magic dissolved. Her gown faded, her jewelry disappeared, her carriage vanished. Once again, she stood in rags. But this time, her heart was no longer hopeless. For one magical night, she had been seen. Meanwhile, at the palace, Prince Kerian held the golden bracelet tightly. "I will find her," he vowed. The next morning, a royal decree was announced across the kingdom. The priest shall marry the maiden whose wrist perfectly fits this golden bracelet. Excitement exploded once more. Women from every village prepared eagerly. Lillian was determined. "That prince will be mine," she declared. Madame Sarah devised schemes to secure their future. Neither of them realized that destiny had already chosen. As royal guards traveled from village to village, testing the bracelet on countless hopeful maidens, Chichi remained hidden, forced one more into servant duties. But fate was drawing closer. As soon the truth would shatter Lillian's wicked ambitions forever. Across the kingdom, excitement reached fever pitch. Every noble house, wealthy estate, and village home buzzed with anticipation as maidens lined up for their chance to become prince's bride. Royal guard traveled tirelessly, carrying Prince Kerian's precious golden bracelets from door to door. At each home, hopeful young women stretched their wrists eagerly, but none succeeded. Some wrists were too small, others were large. Some tried to force it, yet the bracelets remained stubbornly unmatched. Prince Kerian grew increasingly restless. "No matter how many I meet," he told his parents, "none possesses the spirit of the woman I danced with." Queen Mirabel smiled knowingly. "Then trust your heart, my son. True destiny cannot be hidden forever." Eventually, the royal procession arrived at Madame Sarah's home. The household erupted in chaos. Quickly, Madame Sarah barked to Lillian to be prepared. Servants adjusted Lillian's extravagant gown, powdered her face, and adorned her with jewels. "This is your moment," Madame Sarah whispered fiercely. "Do whatever it takes." Meanwhile, Chichi was ordered to remain hidden in the kitchen. "Do not show your face," Lillian warned. "This opportunity belongs to me." When Prince Kerian himself entered the house, Lillian nearly fainted with excitement. She courtesied dramatically. "Your Highness," she purred. Prince Kerian, however, seemed distracted, as though searching for something beyond appearances. The royal guard presented the bracelet. Lillian confidently extended her wrist, but despite all of her efforts, it would not fit. She gritted at it. "Try harder," Madame Sarah hissed. In desperation, Lillian forced her hand violently. Suddenly, crack! The bracelet snapped painfully against her wrist before majestically restoring itself untouched. Gasps filled the room. Prince Kerian frowned. "This is not her." Madame Sarah quickly intervened. "Surely there must be some mistake. My daughter is perfect." But before they could continue their deception, a quiet voice spoke from the shadows. "May I try?" The room froze. Chichi stepped forward. Though dressed in servant rags, her beauty and grace were undeniable. Prince Kerian's eyes widened instantly. He recognized her, not by her clothes, but by her eyes, those same kind, luminous eyes. Madame Sarah panicked. "No, she's only a servant." Lillian screamed. "She cannot." But Kerian raised his hands. Let her proceed. With trembling calmness, Chichi extended her wrist. The bracelet slid on effortlessly. It fits perfectly. At once, golden light burst from the bracelet, illuminating the room, as if destiny itself confirmed the truth. Chichi's magical royal gown briefly shimmered around her once more. The prince smiled with overwhelming joy. "It was you," he whispered. Tears filled Chichi's eyes. For the first time in years, she was no longer invisible. Prince Kerian knelt before her. "Chichi, will you return to the palace with me?" The villagers watching outside erupted in celebration. They had always known her goodness would one day be rewarded. Lillian's word chattered. "No," she shrieked. "It's not fair." Madame Sarah's schemes crumbled instantly. Their cruelty had finally been exposed. Prince Kerian's expression hardened. "For years, this noble young woman was abused under your roof." Royal guards stepped forward. "Madame Sarah and Lillian," the prince declared, "for your greed, deception, and cruelty, you are hereby banished from the kingdom." Lillian collapsed in disbelief. Madame Sarah begged desperately, but justice had come. Stripped of status and wealth, they were escorted away. As they disappeared beyond the village gate, Lillian's jealousy had transformed into bitter regret. Too late, she realized that wickedness had cost her everything. Chichi, however, chose compassion over vengeance. "Let them go," she said softly. "Their choices are punishment enough." Prince Kerian admired her even more. Only someone truly noble could remain kind after such suffering. Soon, Chichi was welcomed into the royal palace. Under Queen Mirabel's guidance, she learned the responsibilities of royalty. But unlike many nobles, Chichi never forgot her humble roots. She used her new position to help the poor, support struggling families, and bring fairness to villages across the kingdom. Her kindness transformed not only her own life, but the lives of countless others. Months later, the kingdom celebrated the grand royal wedding. Palace towers shimmered with golden banners, flowers lined marbles hall. Villagers from every corner gathered joyfully. Chichi wore a breathtaking gown, more radiant than ever, not because of jewels, but because happiness now illuminated her. Prince Kerian stood proudly beside her. As they exchanged vows, cheers echoed across the kingdom, from servant girl to beloved queen. Chichi's journey became legendary. She proved that true beauty lies not in wealth, power, or appearance, but in courage, kindness, and the strength to remain pure despite cruelty. And so, Chichi and Prince Kerian ruled with wisdom, compassion, and love for many years. The kingdom flourished, peace spread, and Chichi's story was told for generations, not merely as a fairy tale, but as a reminder that no amount of wickedness can defeat a truly good heart. For in the end, kindness always shines brighter than jealousy.